restoring propellers, and they also did a tremendous job of managing the many FTAC volunteers, the Boy Scouts that we had come out here, and other volunteers who came out to help with the project. They provided mentorship for these young airmen and a history lesson or two along the way. I also want to thank Senior Master Sergeant Paul Seglock for the support with wiring the aircraft for the display, along with your sons, Paul. What a great testimony you provided to these young men by your example. The exposure here will stay with them for years to come, and I appreciate their involvement. I also want to thank Master Sergeants Chris Parrott and Jason Rhodes, Tech Sergeant Anthony Cox, Tech Sergeant Marty Walker, Tech Sergeant David Wilton, Staff Sergeant Jimmy Woldridge from the 305th and 514th Maintenance Squadrons for the crash recovery, towing, wheel assembly, wing removal, and installation support. Your teams performed flawlessly during the most crucial phases of this project. And I also want to have a special shout out to Master Sergeant Justin Fletcher. Thank you for the last minute request to tow the aircraft from yet again another hangar on so many occasions that I've lost count. For the 87th Civil Engineering, for the outstanding job on the Circle, to the Security Forces Squadron, along with the McGuire First Floor for clearing the way so that we could return the aircraft to display. And finally, I'd like to recognize Master Sergeant Corrine Albert. Corrine, your passion for all things Air Force heritage was no more evident than during the execution of this project. Your exacting attention to detail in carrying out this daunting task has culminated in the final product. Thank you so much for dotting the I's and crossing the T's, for your insistence in getting it right, and more importantly, for your friendship. So why this project? The simple answer is to honor Major Jose Willits, Lieutenant Gerald Proudlove, Lieutenant Robert Danzler, Tech Sergeant George Fonte, Airman 3rd Class Stephen H. Colomb, Airman 3rd Class Geraldine Forsyth, and Airman 2nd Class Joyce Boatwright, who on Friday, 13 July 1956, lost their lives while taking off on a mission from McGuire Air Force Base during a thunderstorm in the first C-118 accident recorded by the U.S. Air Force. It is also so we can honor those that sacrificed much during the early years of this mighty Air Force. Gentlemen like Lieutenant Colonel James Bennison, who skillfully piloted the C-118 on many a mission. Major Ed Laval, who navigated the aircraft with precision at a time when the only amount of air traffic control came down to a beacon signal. Master Sergeant John Werman, whose engineering and mechanical prowess kept the mission moving come rain or shine anywhere on the globe. And Master Sergeant Jim Wable, who operated the critical communication station on board the aircraft so that the guys behind the controls could fly the aircraft without distraction. I am honored that they are at this ceremony with us today, and I'm grateful for the foundations they laid in growing this proud Air Force. It is because those that lost their lives in the employment of the C-118 and those that are still with us to regale in a simpler yet no less crucial time in the history of our United States Air Force that this project took on the urgency to get it done right. Gone is the United States livery and tail number that postdated this C-118's Air Force service and which remained on the aircraft since 1965 when the Navy assumed ownership. Instead, the aircraft proudly displays its 1957 livery and the tail number that adorned it when it rolled off the Douglas assembly line in 1954, 33255. 33255, a tail number like any other on any Air Force aircraft. But if you were Sergeant Elvis Presley, then stationed in Germany, this tail number was assigned to your ride home upon discharge from the United States Army. 33255. If you were a Hungarian national trying to avoid persecution by a brutal Russian regime, this tail number was assigned to the aircraft that brought you freedom deserved and dignity restored. 33255, stalwart of the Cold War, the tail number assigned to an aircraft that ushered the airlift era to McGuire Air Force Base and is now part of the strong legacy of this global reach powerhouse. 33255, the tail number assigned to the aircraft that has brought us all together today to honor those who died while carrying out the good and most often difficult missions of this great Air Force, to honor those who sit with us today who flew on you, who bled on you, and I'm sure oftentimes cussed at you too. 33255, the tail number assigned to the aircraft that stands as the vanguard of this passenger terminal as a reminder to all that pass through here that where we're going amounts to nothing if we don't remember where we've been. I'll always look upon this aircraft as a reminder of friendships built, relationships started, and all those that busted knuckles on this aircraft with me. And as a reminder that even before I was born, there were men and women who raised their right hand and swore an allegiance to the Constitution of this great nation, who made the decision to slip the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God, no matter the cost, and who lived with integrity, service, and excellence long before it was a catchphrase, who in the worst of times gave of themselves to bring freedom to the oppressed, and in the best of times lived to fly another day. They are our past, our present, and our future all rolled into one, and I am eternally grateful. It is to them that I say that this project is carried out with the utmost respect for your service and your sacrifice. You have given far more than can be repaid, but I hope in a small way that we've served you well here today. I thank you for your service and the legacy that you have left for future generations of airmen. Godspeed to you all.